Some wiring runs deep. Religion, dogma, the stories you inherited before you had a choice. Maybe it was wrong. This show pulls it apart. Hard questions, no guaranteed answers, zero apology. This is Rewired.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Rewired. I'm Jane Berenger and Matt Stein. We're your hosts.
Howdy, howdy.
Howdy.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
I'm still getting used to howdy. It's funny. Today, we are going to just allow things to unfold as they may. We've been a little bit more intentionally structured in previous episodes, but I don't even know what we're going to talk about. So it's going to be an interesting ride. It's going to be a wild ride, Matt. Matt doesn't hold the keys to the castle either. We're just going to see what unfolds, and I love that for us.
I mean, I hold the keys to the keys,
Yeah, that's true.
right? And so I couldn't make up my mind this morning, and I brought two decks. I brought the crow. Whoop, the crow was in this hand. And I also bought the Magic Pantry tarot.
I love that. That's so cute.
I don't really know. I love that. I love this deck. Not the least. I just love the picnic tablecloth box. It really makes me happy for some reason.
Let's start with that one, and we'll pull a card
Okay.
for that one.
We can start with that one. Oh, and it has a fun
Oh
guidebook.
yeah, look at that.
It's quite nice as well. Interesting. Oh, I forget that I still have the extra fake card. And it was turned the other way. I was like, both sides of the deck are the back. What's going on here? And I realized, I put that in there intentionally so that I won't. Yes. Anyway, moving right along. Okay, we're looking good and randomized here.
So we're just going to pull a card and see where this takes us. The last few episodes have been very good with the cards. And is there anything, before you find the card that you're looking for, is there anything that's sort of like screaming out to you as an important thing that we need to talk about right now?
It depends on how you define important. like existentially important, or like important because that's really what I'm into right now, or like, do you have a inkling?
Just like an urgent thought that's happening. That
I don't have
needs to be
anything
shared.
urgent beyond my like normal. Everything that I'm excited about all of a sudden becomes an urgent like research project kind of thing, which is what yesterday turned into. And I went way, way, way deep down my ancestral rabbit hole again. And I had lots of really crazy, fun, cool stuff come up. So we could talk about that at some point, but it really has nothing necessarily to do with. Now that is an interesting choice.
All right, what's the card that came
we
up?
we have the 10 of Swords, and it is an onion. And so she's chopping onions here, and she's got tears you can kind of see flowing down. They're purple onions, which love them on a cheeseburger. I also think they're pretty great in guacamole. Yeah, like the purple onion is a versatile little guy. So 10 of Swords. So what is 10 of Swords typically, Jayanne?
So 10 of Swords, 10 of anything is like the fullness of it. And so people don't love the 10 of Swords. I'm just going to say that. Because there's a lot of entrapment feeling. There's a lot of like cage of my own making. And there's a lot of question of like being in stasis. Am I getting this right? I feel like I don't get the Ten of Swords a lot.
Well, if we think about the Rider-Waite image, it's you've got 10 swords in the back,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Right? And what I find is the most common meaning that's ascribed to it is like it's basically like, yeah, this really shitty thing is over, but it's over and now you get to start again.
Right. Sort
Like
of like
like
the only way out is through kind of vibes.
right, right.
Yeah.
Um yeah, you've endured a bunch of shit or you're about to endure one last thing, but it's going to be the last of the things. And I don't know, like it also depends on how you think. Like I think most people tend to think of the swords as like they're the bad suit in the
100%.
tarot. Like swords always suck unless it's like
Four. Four
the
is my
Knight of
favorite.
Swords, like the Knight of Swords, but then it's like, oh yeah, but the Knight of Swords, you're gonna charge into battle and do something stupid, so it's still not good. It's just not you're in pain.
Four of
I mean,
Swords is just take a nap. Take a nap.
the Nine of Swords is a friend of mine because it's the card of sleepless nights.
Yeah.
I guess it was your friend last night also.
Nine of Swords is always one that I get a lot. And it's usually a oh, you're overthinking, you're even reversed, it's not great. Even reversed,
So
it's
I
too
want to
much.
see what the guidebook says. And first of all, I believe there is a there's a thing to the suit assignments if I can find it. At least I thought there was. Right, it's at the beginning of it, so I need to go. So the suit of wands is herbs, spices, and seasonings. The suit of cups is fruit. The suit of swords is your vegetables. So this is the eat your vegetables suit, which is a different vibe than bad. It's just like doing what's good for you, even though you might necessarily not be a fan. Um, the vegetable that is the ace, which is supposed to be evocative of the whole energy, is the radish. So let's get to the 10. So ingredients to the 10 of swords: difficult endings, surrender, deep exhaustion, and hopelessness. Okay, sounds like we were on point according to this deck. So instructions: onions. Everyone knows that they make you cry. This reaction is caused by the compounds and enzymes in the onion, which create chemicals which irritate our eyes. The more you slice and bruise the cells of the onion, the more enzymes are released, and the more likely you are to end up with tears on your cutting board. Instruction 2. We've been cut, we've been bruised, our feelings have been diced into tiny little pieces and sauteed in a hot oiled pan. The 10 of swords can represent the deep exhaustion we feel after expressing sorrow and grief through our bodies. Instruction 3. But don't worry, rest is coming soon on the horizon. You'll soon be able to put your vegetable knife down and have a nap while the soup simmers on the stove. While this has been a horrible experience, this card assures us that it's over. We're done. Stick a fork in us. Nice. And instruction 4. There are ways you can try to avoid the onion tears. Freezing them beforehand, adding acid like lemon or vinegar, using a super sharp knife, even wearing eye protection. But in the end, sometimes it's just not up to us whether we have a good cry or not. This card may appear to let us know it's time to surrender to things we cannot control. Allow the feelings to roll down through you and the tears to roll down your cheeks. After all, they're there to protect your eyes from harm. So, while that was cute and I enjoyed it, I didn't really shed a whole lot of new information from what we were already saying, at least not to me. What do you think?
I think it's interesting that this is the card that came up because it's the card I feel the least confident about reading. And as you were reading that, I was like, oh, that explains it because so it seems like it's the completion section of the grief cycle. And a lot of the
Mm,
stuff that we deal with, the reason the stuff we call trauma, this is not to like minimize it in any way, shape, or form, but like structurally, the stuff we call trauma is usually like open grief tabs in my mind. And so when we complete the cycle of different grief pieces, then we are able to feel more complete in that situation and we just feel more healed overall. But I think the thing that was speaking to me in this card is that deep exhaustion.
yeah, yeah,
Specifically. Yeah.
yeah.
I said this the other day. Like, I'm not just like, I was like, I'm tired. And somebody was like, oh, when did you go to bed last time? I'm like, no, 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 no.
It's not
I'm
that
like
kind of tired.
long-term tired. I am tired. I'm so tired of new technology. I know we talk a lot about technology on this podcast. I am like, can we not for once? Can we? Because I grew up in the era of there's a new thing every 2 to 3 years, and now everybody has to change to it, and now we all have to like learn a new skill and become proficient at it. And there's a lot of fear and hype, and I'm just like, I just want to put plants in the ground and I don't want to do any of this. And I'm tired. And I'm tired of all of the hype and all of the demand that comes with it. I mean, I chose this timeline, so I'm like, obviously I could handle it. But there's the piece of me that's like soul level. I'm just kind of done with this chaos for the sake of chaos. So
Yeah,
it's my big secret.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm obviously like in love with technology.
Yes.
Like that's just part of who I am. But I am just as tired in the way that you're expressing it as you say you are. Because it's like, yeah, um, it's been technology change my whole life, but
Mhm.
the cycles are getting so fast
Mhm.
now that I feel like we're not ever even fully processing the cycle before the next cycle starts.
Absolutely.
And that
Uh-huh.
is dangerous in so many ways because um if you look at how technology change has occurred throughout history, it's not like we come up with this technology and say, all right, before we roll this out, let's make sure we think really hard about all the potentially unintended consequences that are going to come from this technology when we roll it out and plan for and mitigate that risk before we do so. No, that is
Nope.
not how we have ever done that. And I don't think it necessarily has anything to do with. I, I would be hesitant to immediately just say, "Oh, that's just capitalism." It's there, but it's. I think that there is a sense in which we, as a, I don't know, a species, we like move in the direction of, "Oh, I think I've got this thing that's going to solve everything, and so therefore I'm going to jump before I think,"
Mhm.
and we roll things out before we've had a chance to even think about what might happen. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. Like again, it has consequences, um, whether we like them or not. So what we tend to do then is we wait for all the problems to crop up in the real world, and then we
Mhm.
solve those problems. And eventually, maybe we don't get it all fixed. We never seem to get it all fixed, but we smooth it out enough that it's kind of fades into the baseline of this is how this particular world in this particular timeline works. And then we have a new cycle and we do it all over again. And it used to be that you got maybe one of these a generation.
Yeah.
right? Now it's like I can think back to the number of these that have occurred in just my lifetime that have been like, oh, this fundamentally changed life.
Yep.
So, the example I used to highlight a lot was when the iPhone was released. There is no comparing life before the iPhone to life after the iPhone. And that doesn't matter if you use an iPhone or not. It was the thing that sparked the
Mhm.
revolution. Um, and what was it about that made it so changing? It was that, oh, well, before that point in time, everybody didn't have a computer, period. You could not, through the internet, reach everyone.
Yep.
That was not possible. Most people did not have a computer. And those that did, they had it at work or they went to a library or something. Unless you were in the very, wealthiest classes, and then you had, maybe personal computer at home, right? Um, Now, pretty much everyone has a computer in their pocket at all
Yep.
times. In fact, it's not even in their pocket; it's in their fucking hand, and they're
Mhm.
on it constantly. And you know, you can connect to the entire world of addressable market anytime you want.
Yep.
And people actually are it was also like, there was a limit to how much, like, people could do on a computer because you had to have, like you had to understand how computers worked, and then Apple's like, "Well, let's make an iPhone. Let's make a computer that a two-year-old can figure out." Um, and they did. And now, like, most people still have no idea how these things work, but they can functionally, man navigate life with this device that is, in fact, just, to throw one example, it's way more powerful than the computers we sent people to the moon with. And
Think
everybody's
about
got
that
that,
for a second. Yeah.
right?
That's very
Everybody's got
funny.
that.
Mhm.
Um, so that happened, and yeah, like, children who were born after that event, there's a lot of things that they don't know that we know. But now it's getting to the point, and I was listening to a podcast the other day of, like, Gen Z folks, and they're like, talking about the fact that, well, ever since we've been alive, it's like new technology every year. Like, that's just what we're used to. That's all we know.
Yeah.
They don't know the slower cycle.
Yeah.
And they were talking about as if, like, we're kind of like used to this, whereas older folks, still, remember a time when it wasn't this fast. And so, like, there's a disconnect there. And I'm like, yeah, fair. Anyway, like, it's been, what was that? It was 2007. So
Yep.
it's been almost 20 years. It's
Wow.
fucking crazy.
That's nuts.
The iPhone's almost been here for 20 years.
Mhm.
Um, it doesn't seem 20 years old.
No.
Like, when I think of 20-year-old technology, I think of, like, old stuff, but apparently my brain is not caught up to reality. Um, the next one that I think of is Uber, where Uber, like,
Hmm.
basically, um, completely disintermediated the transportation industry for people.
Yeah.
Like, you went straight from yourself who wanted a ride to the person who had a car that could give you a ride. And the company was nothing but, joining those people together and then collecting basically rent, from facilitating the transaction.
Uber also
Um,
made a mainstream of the gig economy,
yes.
you know?
Yeah. Well, there were whole industries that were set up to be the intermediaries
Well, there's
in
that.
those
Yeah. Yeah.
very profitable industries that were set
Mhm.
up to be the intermediaries between those two parties, and Uber decimated them. The taxi medallion that you, like,
It
just
was
worked hard
expensive.
to get and spend ridiculous amounts of money.
Mhm.
I don't know how much they are, but they're and now they're worth nothing.
Mhm.
They're worth absolutely nothing.
I think they were
Um,
like a couple $100,000, I heard somewhere.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so so yeah, so a house,
Mhm.
in my area, not a house in New York. Um, but, like, that created all sorts of other problems. There were safety issues, there was this, there was that. Um, Eventually, the companies had to evolve, and they got regulated, and we solved enough of it that it's not really something that you hear about. It's faded into the background once again.
Yeah.
Um, and so that happened, you know, I'd say that the biggest disruption there was what, maybe 8 to 10 years after the iPhone. So
Mhm.
well, the number of changes that I can think of that have happened in just the last 5 years alone. Um, I mean, 3 years ago, nobody was talking about ChatGPT.
They didn't even exist. Well, they sort of
Like
existed, but not like
well, not the way it does today, but I mean, you could get your
yeah.
hands on it in 2023, but, like, it was
ChatGPT went from
useless.
0 to 1,000,000 users in 2 months. That's nuts.
Yeah.
2 months. It took Facebook a couple of years. I saw, like, a graphic somewhere. It was like
I
Facebook
was just gonna
was
say, how long did it take Facebook?
it was like
Because
it
that
was
was,
like a
like, a
couple of
big
years to 1,000,000 users. It took Instagram, like, about half that time, and then it took ChatGPT, 2 months. This is why I'm tired.
this
I'm just
this
tired.
oh, here's I think I found a thing. I think I might have found the thing you're talking about. This says this says Twitter took 24 months, Facebook took 10 months, Instagram took 2.5 months. But this
Those
is
are
just this is
much
this is the
shorter
guy from our
timelines.
database co this is the COO at our database company who posted this on LinkedIn
Interesting.
that we use for Tarot Pulse. Supabase. Shout out to Supabase. Advertise on our podcast. I don't know.
Not sponsoring us, though. We're paying them.
Right, right. Sponsor I mean, honestly, they're we don't pay them much.
No, we
That's
don't.
another thing that's crazy that's changed, like, is the cost of launching a software product on the internet has plummeted since
Yep.
I've been doing this. Like, it used to be that if you wanted to start a company, that was gonna be, we like, believe it or not, there was a period that we didn't call them apps. Um,
No, it
like,
was software. What was it called? Just software, right?
I mean, there's software, but we also have, I don't know, like, I don't remember I don't think we talked about it colloquially. Like,
No.
that's another thing that's changed,
Mhm.
is that when you walk up to somebody on the street and talk about an app, they're gonna know what you're talking about. But that
Yep.
wasn't the case in like, 2005.
No, it was a concerted marketing effort by Apple. There's an app for that. There's an app for that. Remember
Right,
that?
right, right. Yes,
Now you don't
yes,
have
I
to,
do.
like,
Because the
push
funny
that because
thing was
they
when they
created it.
launched, there were no apps. It was
Nope.
just what was on the phone when you bought it.
Yep.
And they're like, "Well, yeah, you go to a website in the browser," and people couldn't grok that, so they're like, "Oh, well, I guess," I mean, I don't think that's the only reason that they created the App Store, but, like, it was a brilliant move on many, many, many fronts, not the
Yeah.
least of which was that they control the entire ecosystem,
They make
so they
lots of
can.
money from that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, but what was I saying? Oh, yeah, so, like, It used to be if you wanted to create an app, right, you had to have at least thousands of dollars of capital
Yep.
because you had to go get physical space in a data center somewhere, and you had to buy machines, and you had to like physically take care of these machines, and you had to pay people to do all of these things for you, or do it yourself. But most of us, most people didn't have the expertise. Then you get cloud, which is like, oh, you can swipe your credit card, and effectively you're dealing with the same fundamental building blocks. It's just you're outsourcing that to a vendor.
Yep.
And you're clicking around in a web browser to like set up your stuff. And you're paying now, instead of it being upfront capital, you're paying on consumption. So like if you have software running, you're paying for what it costs for the amount of time that it's running. And if you turn it off, you're not paying anything. So like as a business getting started, like, oh, well, so wait, I don't have to pay anything until my software is actually up and running. And then I don't have to buy, like, oh, if I wanted to grow from 1 user to 1 million users in a certain period of time, well, I need to figure out how am I going to buy all the hardware I need to afford that. And so now you can say, oh, well, I can just pay. So as I get more users, I can pay for more incrementally, just overnight. There's no like process. Yeah. So what, why did we have all this explosion of software companies? Two reasons. One, that the cost of doing it the startup cost became zero from a technology perspective. And then you could go get funding for what you had. Like funding there was just free money everywhere you could go get if you were willing to sell a percentage of your idea to a venture capitalist. Then like, yeah, you could go start a business, and almost all of them fail. But we rattled off 4 a second ago that got to 1 million. It doesn't make it. I mean, if you have enough of these, some of them are going to hit. And like I remember when when Facebook bought Instagram for like, it was like $1 billion or something. I can't remember what was the how much was Facebook buying Instagram
This is about
for?
the same time that
Yeah, it was $1 billion
it was
in 2012. It was $1 billion.
I didn't realize it was that long
Um,
ago.
and Instagram had 13 employees, no revenue, and 30 million users.
Wow.
And they paid $1 billion for it. And my guess is that they've, gotten some return on that investment.
Probably.
Since I don't even know what the numbers are today, but like I think of Facebook as like a third tier platform.
I know.
Like Instagram is their premier property in my opinion, but I guess that's just me. I don't really have any data that I'm basing that on.
Just perception, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Made up ideas, just like everybody else.
So what does all this have to do with the Ten of Swords? Because we've totally like
Well,
gotten
I
deep
think
into
what
this
you were
conversation,
saying,
and I could go deeper.
yeah, what you were saying with the this concept of like how fast technology has shifted and that ability to look back and go, oh, this part doesn't work, this part doesn't work, and we're not doing that, we're on to the next thing. That's the same thing I was talking about with grief and closing tabs and being able to complete cycles like that. And the reason I'm so exhausted is because as a society, we haven't like put a bow on any of these things. We just moved on to the next thing. And it's like very whiplashy because okay, now we've been playing in this space of this new technology. Cool. And before we can even get comfortable to the point where we're in a normal cyclical pattern with it, something new is coming out, and now we have to shift our attention, and there's all this
Well,
pressure to the next thing.
there's no waning cycle.
Yes.
Like, we're just waxing 100% of the time.
Mhm.
Like, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I was thinking about cycles. You said cycles. I was like, oh, what do we know that has, cyclical that's in our lives? The moon, right? Like, it
Yeah.
almost feels like it's just like constant full moon energy all the time,
All the time.
all the
Mhm.
time. And I think we've talked about this before at some point, but like, we're not designed to run that way.
No.
I mean, we can make the argument that we're not designed at all, but if you look at, you know, our bodies require they're cyclical. I mean, you know this better than me. Like, you're inherently cyclical as a human
Yeah.
being. Um, but we have, as we have technologically progressed, air quotes, we have driven more and more of the cyclical nature out of, like, everything is just endless progress, endless growth, endless speed, endless everything.
Oh.
Like, I swear to God, like, we've been talking about how do we go faster in the software industry as long as I've been in the software industry. I remember,
Right.
like, early in my career, an influential book that I read was called Better Software Faster. Um, because it was not always like, it had to get better and it had to come out faster than the last time, which, it's honestly, it's just not really a thing. Um, I, it's not like there's only so much you can't. I mean, you could do better software faster infinitely, but it's gonna cost more and more and more and more and more. But that's not okay either. Like, it needs to get cheaper.
Yep.
And so we're like trying to manage all these things that are like conflicting goals by, like, let's just, let's turn all the dials up to 100 on everything and go until we explode. Like,
Right. What are we really aiming for? Yeah.
just something better than what we have now by some
Yeah.
definition of
Yeah.
better. You want to pull another card?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like this.
Let's.
I like this picnic deck. I'm totally into it because, like I was saying, I'm just tired of it's
You
like
want to pull another card from the
so
picnic deck, or
tired.
you want to pull a card from the crow deck?
Yeah, I'll get the crow deck because I think it's
Okay.
interesting. We've been talking about completing cycles, and there's nothing more cycle completionary than crows. They're in my mind the bird of October, the bird of the
Mm.
waning light and the twilight bird, like there's nothing more. How do we complete this cycle? How do we move forward in uncertainty with decreased production? Because we all know what up goes up must come down. And that's not because it's like dismal, it's because that's part of the cycle. If you go up really high, you want it to come down because then it'll go up again and that's sustainable. That's what sustainability looks like. That's what equilibrium actually looks like. Equilibrium is not like two things in static formation. It's actually the energetic is shifting back and forth at the same rate in the same flow in the opposite directions and at the exact same time. And so it's not about having, oh, if we go crashing down, it'll never go back up again. That's not true either. What goes down must come up too. So yeah, I think it's an important point here is how do we complete this cycle, whatever it is. And what card do you have for us here, Matt?
I think this is funny because we've pulled this card already,
Yeah.
but I also like it. Um, the Five of Wands.
Pulled this card last week.
I know
That's
we
wild.
did. This card, I'm telling you, this card stalks me a little
Mm.
bit. It does. Um, like, as you were talking about the what must go up, what comes down must come down, all that. I can't talk, obviously. But like I've been reading this book. Actually, it's right here. Um, it's tome, Cosmos and Psyche. And what it's basically doing is taking the outer planets, so the generational planets primarily, but also mixes in Jupiter and Saturn to a certain extent. And it examines what happens when you have two of them in hard aspect. So, we haven't talked about astrology a lot on this show. So when I say hard aspect, aspects are angles between planets um, as they are viewed from Earth. And so if Mars is in the sky over here and Mercury's in the sky over there, they have an angle between them, right? Hard aspects are your square angles. So 0, 45, 90. What's 90 plus 135? And 0. Okay, so 90, 180. I cannot do math right now. What is wrong with my brain?
It's not math
Duh.
time.
Let's not do math. So we talked about how tired we are. 5. I can do 5. The 5 of ones. But like so when you look at those planets, and so there's like major, like these are like decades to some cases hundreds of years between these alignments when you're talking about Uranus and Neptune and Pluto. And so like there's this whole section of the book that's about stuff that happens when Uranus and Pluto are in hard aspect, and how you can find like the archetypal character of events in history, when you look at those, are specifically related to the archetypes that we've associated with those planets.
Yeah.
And then there's another section that talks about, okay, here's what happens when you get Pluto and Saturn into and so like when you think of Pluto, it's like just that primal underworld, like just powerful, hungry, will to power energy. And Saturn is like that restrictive energy. And so Pluto tends to amplify Saturn. Now, when did we last have Pluto and Saturn in hard aspect? 2020.
Yeah.
What happened in 2020?
Yeah, it was a big deal.
The
It was a big
whole
deal.
fucking world shut down. And while there was a lot of damage, there's still damage that we're experiencing due to COVID.
Yeah.
There was also this profound reset that happened because people who had not been able to stop
Yep.
sometimes their entire lives all of a sudden were forced to stop for months to years.
This
And
is
that had
something
a
that I have
profound-
like thought about the entire time we were in it. What you were talking about just now is what happens when you make everybody sit with their own thoughts at the same time.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. They didn't have a choice.
But then we all ran as fast as we could to go online because we needed to be distracted.
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot. I mean, so a lot of it was kind of fun though, because like all the celebrities had nothing to do too, so they started doing like special performances and shit to distract us, and it's like, oh, this is great.
That's good.
All that went away.
Yeah.
All the free concerts that were online, like I used to watch Fish. They were doing shows all the time, to like an empty theater,
That's
but
cool.
streaming it. I think it was on Twitch, maybe. I don't remember. or it wasn't all fish. I think it was just Trey Anastasio. Anyway, never mind. I'm going off. This is my brain, y'all. Like it's just
All
it's
kinds
like
of things
it's
pulling in
5
opposite
paintbrushes
directions.
all going and doing their own thing. And I think it's kind of what this show wants to be.
Yeah, I think so. And so I think it's okay. So the thing that you're talking about with Pluto and Uranus before Saturn, because what also happened in 2020 was this great conjunction that you'd never see before or after for thousands of years. It was a lot of planets all in one spot. Fun fact, they were literally sitting on an important part in my on my Mars in my kite. So it was like the weirdest time for me too.
Mm.
But one of the most classic conversations around Pluto and Uranus doing something together is the civil rights movement. And civil rights movement, Uranus
Mhm.
and Pluto were conjunct. And when they would
Mhm.
start to spread apart, things would start to simmer down. And when they would get closer together, things would start to come back up in the 60s. And so throughout, because they're slower planets, their cycles are a little bit, they do this dance. All the planets do this kind of back and forth dance with each other. And so those two are going to take a lot longer to come apart and then come back together. So it was almost the entire decade that they were doing this, at least half of the decade. And what I also find interesting is that we're having an echo here because Pluto is in Aquarius, which is the sign that Uranus rules. So we're seeing Aquarius is all about technology as well, and transformative is Pluto's thing. So transformation in the area of technology, we kind of expected. I'm not surprised by the AI thing,
Oh, yeah.
but all
Totally.
of this is just I'm just tired of it.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
tired.
yeah. Well, those are both true, right?
Yeah,
Right? They're both true because the cycles continue whether you want them to or not. Like, the planets keep fucking moving.
they do. Yeah,
So even while we try to create this constant energy of progress in a single direction, the universe is like, "You can try, but
yeah,
it's that's not how anything works." So
no,
so the energy, it's not like there's not just one energy right now, that is wearing us out. Like, it's that energy coming against that cosmic energy and just, like, basically it's all out war.
mhm,
And we're just trying to, like, well, we've unconsciously repressed that that's even a thing.
yeah,
And so it's just kinda like, this is why I think that people are not just exhausted, they're tired, they're afraid, they're, um, distrusting of almost anything and everything around them. That, like,
yeah,
it's we're very, 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 like, hyper defensive, hyper vigilant, and constantly in fight or flight. And so when shit pops off just randomly, well, it's because pressure has to have somewhere to go.
yeah.
Eventually, stuff is gonna blow up, if you keep sweeping all this shit under the rug,
Mhm.
and pretending it's not there, and disassociating and distracting, and yeah, like, it's I still feel like we're in the Ten of Swords, um, conversation even though we pulled another card.
It's no, I know it's slightly different though because the answer here is to lean in, and that's what the 5 is telling us, is to just
Mm.
keep going with the gas on the keep going and it'll all explode anyways, and then we'll be able to complete the cycle. And I'm like, "Well, that doesn't sound great."
But that's what we do. I mean, that's what society has
Yeah,
done even before society was called society.
yeah,
Like, if now there's an interesting thing about this book that, flies in the face of what some astrologers some astrologers say, like, you can't look at the planet before the planet was discovered.
I agree with that. Well, I
Okay.
sort of agree with that. You can't. I have an ethical problem with people talking about Pluto in the air in 1200 because it was not part of the collective consciousness, right? So, for example, Pluto wasn't discovered till 1937. Our awareness of Pluto became that. Now, do I think that we can discuss collective unconscious stuff that what happened back then? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
always going to implement the shadow side when the planet is not discovered because
Interesting.
you're not going to see. So I have actually more hope for us in this cycle than I would have had if this were 100 years ago.
Interesting. Interesting. I now need you to read this book
I need to read
because
this book.
no, because that idea that you just kind of walked through, I probably heard it from you first. I don't
Probably, I
think you're
think.
the only person. I don't think you're the only person I've heard this. You probably
Yeah,
said it on the podcast
I did.
on Feminine Alchemy is probably what happened.
Excessively, yes. This is one of those
But
things.
so he goes so far as to take Pluto cycles back as far as I think 1200
Mhm,
and shows that yeah, like the archetypal event cycle that we're measuring now after Pluto was discovered, it goes back perfectly
mhm,
on those cycles all the way far back as we have basically recorded history to look at of what happened that you would say, "Oh yeah, um he uses the word gestalt a lot,
mm,
um, because and I like the concept, I hate the word. I don't know why, it's just an awkward word, but, like, the idea that you kinda just have to feel the whole vibe of the
yeah,
thing, and so, like, the Uranus-Pluto vibe, it reliably, every time they're in hard aspect, produces stuff like this, and the
mhm,
one that I found the most fascinating was, like, people would be born, at 1. Then at the next hard aspect, they would produce their most great work,
mm,
and it would also be something that's aligned with those themes.
yeah,
So, like, they would be born into the energy, and then when the cycle would roll around again, they would now express what they've spent their life basically, processing. So, like,
yeah.
one example was, Melville was born at I can't remember if it was a conjunction or not, but then at the next cycle, he wrote Moby Dick.
Wow, yeah.
Also, interestingly enough, um, that at the time of his birth and at the time Moby Dick was published were the only two recorded major incidents where a whale actually attacked a ship at sea,
That's crazy.
right?
That's so wild. Like, this is like, I have so many goosebumps right now. This is the stuff that I'm like, okay,
Okay,
but
so
everything's
so
random and random's
this
real.
book is nothing but that.
That's
This
cool.
book is nothing but that stuff. Like, that's I'm obsessed with it. But it's also,
Gotta
like,
get that book.
it's a marathon book. I've been working on it for, like, 2 months. Um,
Yeah.
I've gotten
One
back into it because
thing.
the astrology class I'm taking right now, it's one of there was excerpts from it that were, like, part of the reading for the class, and I was like, "Well, I should just
Mm,
finish reading the book."
just read the book.
And, yeah, one more thing because you mentioned the '60s. I
Mhm.
have a piece coming out on the Substack this week. I think it's on Friday. Um, so I noticed when I was reading that 1848 was one of the years that you had this Pluto Uranus hard aspect. And that was the same year that my university, Ole Miss, opened.
Interesting.
So now that cycle completed. So we were back around to the same hard aspect. So what was the '60s? Was that a conjunction?
That was conjunctions, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so we were formed at the university was opened during a Pluto Uranus conjunction. It and it was a it was for slaveholders. Like, it was a
Oh, cool.
slaveholders academy, effectively. Definitely only white people, right? 1848, Mississippi. In the 60s, that's when Ole Miss integrated, and James Meredith, like, was the first black student to come into the university at the next conjunction,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
So basically, completely inverting, like, the whole identity, um, and then, this is where it gets freaky. You fast forward to 2012 to 2015,
Oh, we
which is
had
the
the
square.
squares. Mm-hmm.
That was when an Ole Miss fraternity, I think it was like 3 of them, they hung a noose over the statue of James Meredith on campus
Oh my gosh.
with the Georgia state flag, which is basically also the Confederate flag.
Oh,
Um, so, like, anyway, I wrote a piece that I was like, okay, I want to examine all this now. So I started at 1848 and said, okay, let's look at every square, opposition, all the way up to, and the history could not be more ridiculously aligned to these squares. Um, so anyway, that's coming out on Friday.
that's going to be a
Actually,
good
there's one
one.
on Wednesday where I talk about my own, like, I wanted to do a deep dive into, like, my generational placements.
Mm.
So I have, Pluto in Libra, Uranus in, Scorpio, and Neptune in Sagittarius. And so I wanted to look at, okay, well, what is the stamp upon the generation that fits into those 3 placements?
Yep.
And so I wrote a piece on that too.
I love this.
This book has got me, like, totally interested in this stuff. It's funny too because, like, I'm listening to a podcast this morning in the shower, and the guy says, "Yeah, and in 1848," and what is he talking about? He's talking about fucking moths in England, and, like, biodiversity, but whatever he was talking about, 1848, and I'm like, "Ah, shit. Now I need to go see how this Pluto-Uranus conjunction, what it has to do with this moth thing." Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, once again, like, this is me. I'm just like,
All
"Oh
over the
my god,
place.
so many ideas, do all the things, like, right now." It's so much fun. Um, it's so much fun.
So
But
I
anyway.
wanted to bring, because you're saying like all these things about how everything, oh, the outer planets, you can see the hand going on in there. And one of the interesting things that people in my more recent circles have been focused on was this 2022 had America had their Pluto return. And
Mm,
I say they, I live in America. I don't know why I was like that. We. But it's not my birth chart. I guess that's why I was thinking that. And there were 3 different returns. And so some of the astrologers that I know, they looked back at different countries and when they had their Pluto returns and what happened after that. And every single time there's a marked change in the country in some way, shape, or form. And England had, or the UK, they've had more than 2. Um, one of them was almost exactly with the signing of the Magna Carta, so that's kind of like
that's
a
a thing.
rebirth event, yeah. But Rome,
That's a big one.
right? That's kind of a big one. They redid their whole country, like renovated everything. You know what I mean? All the laws. Um, but Rome within and what was interesting was I was within about 12 years of the Pluto return. That's when you see the huge things start to happen. And with Rome, it was within 12 years that Nero was the emperor and doing all those crazy things. And then Rome kind of fell by the wayside pretty much after that, within 12 years of their Pluto return. So I was finding it very interesting because people were talking about that back in 2022, before any of whatever this is started going on. But it marks a time of extreme transformation in a country, and particularly in any kind of world power. And I thought it was all going to be. I was like, sure, I'll watch the show, but we'll see what happens. I don't. I As much as I love astrology, I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out because I'm like also very science minded. I'm like, okay, well, how do I know you're not just making this up? And then they were like, well, Nero. And I'm like, okay, I'll just put a pin in that.
I
It's
mean,
interesting.
you are making it up,
I
but
mean,
I
yes.
mean, history is made up. Like there
It's
is
true.
no history that's not made up. Like there is no history that reflects the exact events that happened. And honestly, if that's all there was, it would be pretty boring because, like, I was actually shocked to find out that, as I was, getting out of like primary and, middle school history and getting into high school and prep for college is like, oh, history is not about memorizing facts and what happened when it happened. It's how did that impact things and what changes and how can we learn from that?
Yeah.
And so, like, all that stuff is by necessity subjective.
Yeah.
What's interesting then about astrology is that, well, we've got these, I mean, if you think of the sky as just like this celestial watch, right? Um, we have assigned like meanings to when the hands on the watch are in certain positions, and they come back to those positions constantly. And if we look at the events in history and we interpret it through, okay, well, this is what this means. Well, do these events kind of feel the same way? Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
And like, you want to start believing in astrology to the degree that anything that I just said is true? This book, because it's like it's history, it's music, it's literary works, it's like looking at important individuals and then those individuals' contributions. Um, it all lines up in a way that, at least the way I understand it all, it's like, okay, well, can I prove that this is true? Fuck no. But it's not, you can't prove anything about history,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, like there's too many it's like we talk about with tarot pulse, like the synchronicities are at a higher percentage than random.
Yep.
And so when we look at a significantly high percentage of non-random data, we call that information.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, it's information. I don't know necessarily what information about what, but it's information.
It's something.
And so we can analyze it and we can learn from it, right? So anyway, like I don't believe I don't I'm pretty sure I don't believe that the planets cause the things. I don't think it's about
Yeah.
causation. I think it's way more about reflection,
100%.
right?
100%. And the
Um,
planets
um,
aren't sitting up there going, I'm the no, we're putting that up on them saying, oh, Jupiter is like this and it behaves this way and it's going to play out in your life because of all of the millions of people have come before us putting their consciousness on it as well.
yeah. And so, like, there are these cycles that exist. We don't necessarily know what the true nature of their existence is,
Yep.
but they're observable. Like, I
Hmm.
can't map it to, oh, well, this thing in physics causes this cycle to happen. Can't do it. But if you observe it through the eye of, whatever these symbolic lenses that we're using, well, it's obvious, it's there. You can't, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so at that point, it's like, okay, is it real? Well, what is real?
Right.
Right? Right? What does that
Mhm.
even mean? Like if I can perceive it and it's predictable, that's I mean, if I can perceive it and it's predictable, that gets suspiciously close to science.
Mm.
Or at least, the scientific method. Like, granted, a lot of we forget that these early astrologers were the proto scientists.
Yeah.
Like they were not doing woo woo mystical, like, you know, love and light and fun moon ceremonies. Like they were trying to understand how the world works.
Yeah.
So were the alchemists. So like, I mean, and a lot of the stuff that, went to the wayside wasn't because it was inferior, it was because it was persecuted.
Mhm. Mhm.
So like, is it real? Well, how do you define real? um, if something's so scary that you have to actively oppress it.
It might be a little too real then.
Well, if it wasn't real, I don't think you would care, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's depends on which of the paintbrushes you're picking up from the 5.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting too that there are multiple the 5 of Wands shows us there are multiple ways to interact with the same thing. And like you just said, it depends on what paintbrush you're picking up because it's just you can look at it from this lens, you can look at it from this lens, you can all of the different ways you can look at the same thing. And then by the end of that, it doesn't you're asking this question, is it real anymore? It's like when you say a word over and over again, and all of a sudden you're like, well, I don't know if that word, am I saying that right? It sounds foreign now because you've gotten to a place where
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
reviewed it so much that the meaning that it once held no longer holds the same meaning. And you've got to rewire your conscious awareness of that thing and what you consider it to be real and how you consider it to be real because it's everything that we interact with. We are interacting with it from a specific place, mentally, emotionally, perspective wise, bias wise, right? Once you start to rework that, then you start to question its reality, regardless of whatever the thing is. It could be a single word, it could be
Mhm.
history, it could be the cosmos. You go, oh, well, no, I was taught that stars are this and that, and everything is just on its own doing its thing. And oh, well, maybe there is some version of the truth that is about there is meaning to society about that. And it could be other things too, right?
Yeah,
Every
and back in the day, we killed people for disagreeing about that stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
We killed people at church. We
Mhm.
killed people at church for saying the wrong thing about the stars and the planets and the
But
earth.
churches don't do human sacrifice.
I had another thought pop into my head. So we started with the 10 of
Mhm.
in the suit of air, and then we backtracked to the 5 in the suit of fire. And where we started was like being tired and exhausted from the 10. And I'm thinking, when you force oxygen into a fire, it blazes. Even, that's what fuels fire is air.
Yeah.
Too much of it and you create a blaze that gets out of control. I've been watching some sci-fi lately, where in a couple of instances, you have a pressurized um, vessel that they pumped it to 100% oxygen, and then there was a spark. Guess what happened? Everything inside that vessel burnt to a crisp
Mm-hmm.
until it burned up all the oxygen. Is there a sense in which we're just like, hey, we're just putting too much fuel on the fire?
Yeah.
Like the fire is not bad. Like the innovation's not bad. The all of these things can be good. It's the too much too fast that is the problem. It's the speed of it's the defeating of the cycles. That's like we're stuck in this 10 energy.
Yeah.
When if we could just kind of roll it back a little bit to a 5, turn it down
Just dial it
halfway,
down, please.
turn it
I
down
would be good with that.
halfway, like we'd still be doing great stuff and we'd still have challenges, but we wouldn't be like, you know, we wouldn't be walking around like we have 10 swords sticking out of our back all the time.
And it's
I don't
funny
know.
because I just thought of a cooking analogy because it's like, yeah, if you're gonna cook something, you're not boiling it for hours on end. Like that's not gonna create anything that's delicious.
I now want to
You
know what the
wanna,
5 of wands is in the vegetable deck,
yeah,
or
like
not
it.
the vegetable deck, but the picnic deck. It's going to take me forever to find it flipping through the deck, but I don't care. That's the page of wands. 6 of swords, 8, queen, 2. How long does it? It's going to be like the last card in the deck. It
It
always
could
is.
be.
Oh, here we go. I like it. Cilantro.
Cilantro is the 5 of Wands. Interesting.
Now I'm starting to get like, okay, so we had purple onions and
Mm-hmm.
cilantro, both of which go in guac.
That's right. We gotta have some
I'm
more guac.
clearly like feeling guac energy right now.
You know what's really funny is I've planned for dinner to have fish and shrimp tacos. That's our plan.
Nice. Nice.
We're already prepping for it mentally here, I guess. That's what's happening.
I guess so. I guess so. And you do like to talk about snacks on the
I
other
love
podcast.
snacks. Yeah, all the snacks. I have a shirt for the podcast that says all the snacks on the back, and then it lists
Yeah.
all the shabats.
Nice.
Sabats.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
Well,
I
yeah. Mm.
um oh, we have a little snacky item that we've been feasting on this weekend. It's we got these little crostinis, and we have the little baby tomatoes and mozzarella cut up real
Uh-huh.
small with some basil. Make a little,
Oh,
caprese crostinis. So you
I
just
love
grab
it.
the container with all the stuff, grab the bag of crostinis, and just sit there and munch for a little while. It's good times.
That sounds
Good times.
amazing.
It is. It
That
is.
sounds amazing. I hope everybody's hungry because this is now the hungry podcast
Yeah, this is now the hungry
today.
podcast, and and
A very
and
hungry
I'm
podcast.
getting a little bit hungry too. So
Well, if you
anyway,
enjoyed this episode, let us know. You want to hear all about it. If we made you think, that's important too. If you didn't like this episode, but we made you think, great. And you
awesome.
enjoy your thinking. That was the goal. That was the goal. If you didn't like this episode because you don't want to think, well, that's fine. You don't have to keep listening.
I mean, if there's one thing that is true, is that we're going to. This podcast does not want to have like structure. It has
Oh
gotten
yeah.
it has gotten more chaotic every episode. To now we're just like literally talking about whatever comes to mind based on what the cards say or don't say.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm vibing with it. So I hope y'all are too.
It's super fun.
Yeah. 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 It's also very low pressure. And it proves our hypothesis that the two of us can get on a call and talk for over an hour with zero effort, regardless of what the topic is or plan or anything. So yeah, we're doing this for science, folks.
For science.
We're gonna see how long it goes.
Well, enjoy your snacks and have a great week, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers.
If something correct opened during this episode, sit with it. Don't rush to patch it. This show runs on hard questions and the people willing to keep asking them. If that's you, leave a review. It helps more people find their way to the edge. We'll keep pulling the thread. See you next time. This is Rewired.